You need? Oh, okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have a great night, and of course, continue to enjoy New York and Mineola. We're glad to have you. Okay, with that, now the exciting part of our evening. We have 2 hearings this evening, and so Clerk Rivera.
Notice is hereby given that the tentative budget for the year 2025-2026 has been completed by the budget officer and filed in the office of the village clerk in the Village Hall, 155 Washington Avenue, Mineola, New York, 11501, wherein same will remain open for inspection by the general public between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. until April 9th, 2025, when the public hearing will be held in the Village Hall of the Incorporated Village of Mineola, 155 Washington Avenue, Mineola, New York, 11501, at 6:30 p.m. to consider said budget for final adoption.
Okay, so last week we had a budget presentation to the village board made by our treasurer, Mr. Giacomo Ciccone, and today we are having our legally obligated budget hearing, so I'd invite Treasurer Ciccone to please come up and go over the highlights of the budget presentation from last week, as well as any new information that may be pertinent.
Good evening, Mayor, Board,
Good
John
evening.
G. How are you? I'm just going to go over some of the highlights that I did last week for the budget for 2025-2026. On the budget, under revenue, line 55, pilots, we're looking to increase that by $35,000, and that's due to the addition of 155 First Street and 205 East Second Street. Staying with the revenue in the general fund, line 68, interest income, we're looking to increase that by $185,000, as the interest rate has increased from 3.5% in February 24 to 4.22% as of March of 2025. Staying with the revenue, line 77, the permits for the building department is increasing by $100,000 due to anticipated commercial permits. Line 81, fines and forfeitures, is increasing by $100,000, which is a result of the parking department being fully staffed. Line 88 on the same page, the Harrison Avenue Garage is increasing by $128,000, and that's due to NYU Langone Hospital purchasing 50 additional parking spots in the Harrison Garage, in addition to the 250 parking spots previously purchased. And under expenditures, moving along, line 235 and 295, liability and fire insurance, we're increasing that by $181,005 due to the addition of new buildings and structures to the village's insurance policy and market conditions. Line 239, certiorari's, will decrease by $150,000 as a result of additional court cases being resolved in fiscal year 24-25. And towards the end of the general fund expenditures, line 539, pension costs are increasing by $75,000 because the New York State retirement system is changing the average contribution from 15.2% of payroll to 16.5% of payroll. And the last item is line 544, which is the same page, health and medical insurance. We're increased by $140,000 as the NISHIP rates have increased between 7 to 10%. With all these major changes to the budget for fiscal year 25-26, right now we have a tax levy increase of $265,385 from last year's budget. That's a 1.81 tax levy increase, which is below the tax cap of 2% for fiscal year 25-26.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ciccone, and really nothing has changed from last week, right? In
No.
terms of the state, the state has not adopted a budget yet as
Not
of
yet.
today, but although obviously we don't want that, it does not really affect our budgeting process significantly, because those numbers we already know, or at least have a pretty good idea of what they will be in terms of AIM funding, CHIPS funding, and things like that. And they're not bound to change significantly to move the needle one way or the other. So we have those numbers pretty squared away. So I don't have any questions as compared to the questions that we asked last week when you gave the answers. But our budget, which is in the vicinity of $25 to $26 million, when you think about an increase of $260-something thousand, it's not a significant amount, but it equates to almost 2%. But when it comes to real dollars of what it will cost the average household, it is going to be a negligible, minimal amount, because again, the portion of your tax bill that is actually village tax is the smallest portion, probably in the 10 to 12% range. So when you take that into consideration, if you're paying $1,800 or $1,600, it's not going to move it too much. A 1.81 tax levy, which is under the tax cap. Once again, ever since the state instituted the tax cap, the village has never pierced the tax cap, and this year we're not going to pierce it either. While we are increasing our services, our staffing, filling departments where we may have had vacancies in the past. And the only question I have for you, Mr. Chacon, is, as you know, we have a collective bargaining agreement that is set to expire in a few weeks or in a few months, and obviously we are in the process of negotiating a new collective bargaining agreement. And so you're confident that this, and we don't have those numbers yet, we just began the negotiation process, but you're confident that this budget can absorb any, whatever that may be,
Yes.
whatever the increases may be, whatever, the stressors may be. And I'd also like to mention that just today, the New York State Comptroller came out with a fiscal stress indicator.
Yes.
That municipalities and school districts, and you may have heard this, usually they cover the villages or school districts that are under fiscal stress, and they rate them, according to significant, moderate, et cetera. And our score was 0, which is good, which means we're not under any fiscal stress, that our budgeting processes are sound, that our unreserved fund balances are sound, that our expenditures are sound. So the state comptroller believes that our village is in sound economic health and that we are not stressed in budgetary terms. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I think this budgeting is probably the most important responsibility that this board has. We all live here too. We don't raise taxes lightly because we have to pay them too. And you entrust us to take that money and use it to your best benefit. And it's really a balancing act. It's really about wants and needs. And, as a taxpayer, your needs and what you expect from a village is clean water, safety, the fire department, workable roads, sanitation, all those basics. But what we're able to do is then give you the wants as well. So we have an outstanding pool. We have rec programs for young kids. We have swim programs for young kids. We have a fabulous library. We have beautiful parks. We have senior clubs. We have events. We have fireworks and concerts and all these extra things, parades and all these things for our residents to enjoy too. So for us, it's a balance. And luckily, we are fortunate that we are not stressed, and we have found that balance. And we could really stretch your dollars to give you all of your needs at a really high level, and then give you those extra wants that make this really a community. We really are trying to build a community. 21,000 residents, it's not easy to build a community, but we are able to use this budget and find those ways to stretch those dollars to give you guys that community as well as all of those things that you expect from us. So it really is definitely, I think, our most important job as a board. So I thank you for giving us that trust to do that for you. I thank Giacomo for giving us a really balanced budget and really being fiscally sound. I thank our village clerk and all the other people that work for us because they help us find those grants and give us all that extra revenue to make those dollars stretch even further for you. So I am proud to say that this is our budget. I mean, half of this budget is staffing and insurances and things that we negotiate but can't fully control. As Giacomo just said, the pension now, the state dictates 16.5%, I believe you
Yes.
said, of salaries. So there's certain things we can't control, and it comes down to practically half of the budget are just staffing and insurance and benefits. So when you think of it that way, we're really doing a lot with your money. So thank you for giving us that responsibility. Thank you for making it a fiscally sound budget, and I think we're going to have a really good year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well said, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Trustee Casado?
Mayor, how can I beat what the deputy mayor said? Well said, well said.
Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Clark?
Jock, great job.
Thank you.
You got this village on solid ground, and your hard work really pays off. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Trustee Salaski?
As I said last week, I firmly believe that this is a very responsible budget, and I thank you for all the hard work you put into it, keeping it so reasonable, giving the residents continuing the services, yet all these required expenses that you have no control over. I think this budget is extremely responsible. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to close the budget public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Sartori. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second by Trustee Salaski. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So, Mr. Chacon, do you want to read the budget resolutions now or
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Please. The first one is resolved to adopt the homestead adjusted base proportions for the Village of Mineola as recommended by the village assessors for 25-26 tax year.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Sartori, second by Trustee Casado. He had sent it to us electronically. We had gotten it electronically. The budget resolutions. Yep. Yep. Okay. Do we need to pull the board? Mr. Rivera, do we need to pull the board? No? So, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the second one is resolved to adopt the 25-26 budget.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Clark, seconded by Trustee Salaski. Mr. Rivera, please pull the board.
Trustee Clark.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sartori.
Yes.
Trustee Casado.
Yes,
Trustee Salaski.
yes.
Mayor Pereira.
Yes. Okay, the budget for the 25-26 year is hereby adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chacon.
you.
Okay, and now we are moving on to our second
That's okay.
hearing of the evening. Mr. Rivera?
Community Development Funding 51st Year Allocations.
All right. Mr. Savino?
Hi, Mayor and Board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You know, when I first got on this board, you were only in your 30s. Now it's now you're 51.
How things have changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do we get to the 51st year? I remember when it was like the 34th year, the
Yeah.
35th year. All right.
Still going.
Good.
Go.
Thankfully.
Good news. Keep it coming.
Yeah, exactly. All right, first, let me give you some background. Mineola is one of, this is actually for the audience, but I guess you have this televised, so there
Right.
actually is an audience. Mineola is one of 34 municipalities within the Nassau County Urban Consortium. This consortium was formed years ago by mutual agreement and has been designated an entitlement community by federal law. That means members are eligible to receive and use Community Development Block Grants, CDBG, which is issued by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. HUD earmarks these block grants for certain authorized CDBG activities intended to help each community improve its services and facilities, revitalize eligible areas, and encourage economic development. To be eligible for CDBG funds, the activity the activity's primary objective must be to either benefit low or moderate income persons, prevent or eliminate qualified slums or blight, or address community development needs where there are particular urgencies. To determine which local geographic areas could qualify for CDBG funds, the Census Bureau used residential population data to create what are called census tracts. There are similarly populated smaller geographic areas defined within the county. The village has 3 census tracts. The Bureau then subdivided each census tract into block groups. Census tract data collected on the residential population within each block group then determines whether that block group will qualify for CDBG funding. That's very important this year because the 2020 United States Census data was just released in 2025. And as expected, there were material changes in the boundaries of Mineola's qualifying areas. One of the illustrations in your packet is a side-by-side diagram with the old map and the new 2025 map, where you can see those changes. First, the bad news. From a CDBG funding perspective, HUD increased what is known as the exception criteria for how to determine if CDBG-assisted areas activities principally benefit low and moderate income persons. HUD increased its qualifying percentage rate more than 5.5%, disqualifying several block groups throughout Nassau County, which have qualified in prior years. That change, added to the economic boost realized in village demographics, resulted in a loss of 3 previously qualified block groups. However, the first good news is that we gained 4 new CDBG eligible areas. And second, we can now supplement some lost funding in prior years still available in our budget. And those fit nicely to fill the gaps created by lost qualifying block groups. So also in your packet is a conceptual map that combines the existing and the future CDBG eligible areas to show how together Mineola's map filled in quite well. But even better than that is that because of the persistence to have New York State shape its New York funding eligibility boundaries as it did, we can overlay the 3 eligible maps, the new block grant, the prior block grant, and the New York Forward, and we have a source of funding available to contribute to most foreseeable projects in the village. Very powerful. For tonight's resolution, the village's Community Development Department prepared the annual request to acquire a share of CDBG funding to be used to help the needs of this community. This year, the department requested CDBG funds to cover expenses for an upgraded installation of a fire safety protection system for Village Hall Community Center facility. We requested $120,000 for that. To improve pedestrian-scaled street lighting for visibility, attraction, and aesthetics, while enhancing pedestrian convenience and sight recognition in new eligible areas like Jericho Turnpike east of Roslyn Road, Marcellus and Garfield around Memorial Park, so as to be complementary with anticipated downtown improvements. That we requested $250,000 there. And last, to add coordinated community welcome gateway and wayfinding signs in new eligible areas as well, like parts of Jericho Turnpike, Willis Avenue, and west of Mineola Boulevard. Here, we will seek designs that complement or replicate the final design from the New York Forward downtown improvements. Funding requested here is also to cover the cost of custom municipal parking field signs similar to those found in other eligible areas. In that category, requested $56,000. So the total request here is $426,000. That's what we filed.
Right.
Any questions?
So of those $426,000 that we filed, that we requested, what can we be expected to get, in your opinion?
Probably in the neighborhood of $250,000 to $300,000. Last time we did get $300,000, but we have catching up to do, mostly because of New York Forward. We will accelerate that, and we will accelerate that enough to influence this review. So I think we're looking at $250,000 to $275,000.
Okay, and how much money do we still have in the 50th year give or take?
The 50th?
The previous year, right?
Yeah, the previous year, we have,
Ballpark figure.
I'll tell you an exact figure. $300,643.
So we have 300,000.
That was the year that we got it up to 300,000.
And
So we haven't exhausted any of those expenses yet.
what are we waiting for?
Spring has now come, so we're doing the bidding processes to get things cooking.
Okay, and so this is for, among other things, facade improvements and all that, but what else in those 300,000?
I don't know if I have, oh, yes, I do. We have the fire protection that's taking place at the fire department station. There's $80,000 there, and their redo of the kitchen and stuff.
Okay, the company 3.
Right. Residential rehab. There's some parking field expense left over. And there's some wayfinding signs there as well, and curb lighting and pedestrian lighting as well.
Okay, but and I know that New York Forward, obviously, we want to marry these two things.
Right.
We want to make sure that these things are in coordination so that we don't have, mismatching styles and colors and materials and wayfinding signs. I do understand that, but you don't think that the fact that we're so far behind on spending last year's, that's going to affect us in the request for this year?
It will somewhat, but my intent is to accelerate our expenditures
This year?
right now.
Because when does this come, when do the county, when do we know, like later in the fall?
September, we usually find out, September, October.
So between now and September, we got to get the ball rolling?
Right,
Okay,
which is the intent.
okay, let's go. All right. Anything else?
I have a question. Does it expire? So we have money
Yes.
from last year. When do we have to use it by?
It's a contract, so last year's expires in 2024. No, that can't be right. I think it's 2027.
Oh, so it will.
It's usually
it-
like a 5-year contract.
So it will, doesn't have to end before we get the new
No,
money?
right.
Got it.
Right, they've always overlapped.
Right,
to some-
yes,
To some
right.
degree, because you start things overlap, but, and I know that we had a New York Forward, but some of these things we could and should.
That's
start
the biggest reason for the
Right.
slowdown, because we were at a pace of spending more than $100,000 a year in just commercial rehab.
Right.
Now we're at a pace of about 65. So once we get back, now that we're back, we will accelerate that.
Okay, and I know that there are other factors, and I don't want to oversimplify, but, for example, the case of the kitchen at Company 3, that has nothing to do with New York Forward, that is not in the New York Forward area. So things like that we can move on, let's move on, because we've been promising Company 3
Yes.
the kitchen for a while now, and I'd like to deliver sooner rather than later. So whatever you need from us,
Yes.
whatever you need from the clerk,
There,
let's
there,
get
there
that
was, there were 2 lines that we got funding for, and they reallocated it. What I'm applying for this year
Mhm.
was what the county department allocated those funds for. So we had to get them shifted over to that, delayed a little bit.
Okay.
But now that's all set.
So all the money from the previous year is already earmarked? It's not like we just have to do the projects, or we still have to seek out the projects to spend the money?
In some cases, we have to seek out parts of the projects. They're earmarked, but for instance, commercial rehab, I have 46 on the list.
Got it.
So I'll just keep going, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, so it's good. Because this is another example of, we just had our budget hearing prior to this. This is another great example of how we find funds from other places.
Yes.
So our tax dollars don't have to be used for these things. So
Right.
let's not waste the money, if that makes any sense.
No, I think actually, as I was trying to explain before, it's like a puzzle. And we have, let's say, 10 pieces of the puzzle in place, and we picked up 10 more, and they fit into the open spaces almost perfectly. There's like two pieces of the puzzle that overlap, but the rest fit into the spots. So you're making a full picture now. It's very powerful.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else on the board?
I do.
Yep.
Mr. Stefano, good evening.
Hi.
So in your report, you showed 3 different drawings or 3 different concepts of the signs.
Yes,
So were they drawings or they're actual signs like that somewhere else?
no, those were really concepts that I developed.
Okay.
In one municipality, we're doing something that's kind of similar. What I was looking to do here, I've done a lot of research on sign materials and what will hold up to wind and to weather effects. So what I'd love to do here is a double-sided sign. It's actually using 3 sign materials, putting one, and in the middle, having a different sign material, so they're bonded together. And you can have the sign on the front, tell everybody it's the municipal parking field with whatever information you need, and the sign on the back can say something like, enjoy your day, or thank you for visiting Mineola, something in a nice, refreshing, saying. So we could have it double-sided. And the reason I do 3 signs is because I'd like to see it carved, perhaps even carved on 2 sides. And I don't want it to ruin the integrity of the strength of the sign. So we do 3 signs together. And it looks very nice, and that will be the first of its kind around here in this area.
Okay, so May, do we make that, the board make that decision, or
Well, in this case, this is gonna be in conjunction with New York Forward,
Right.
because once we get the word from New York Forward, we wanna make sure that the signs that are outside of the New York Forward area match the signs that are within the New York Forward area. And at that point, obviously, Mr. Savino will make a recommendation. So, no, we, the board, will not necessarily choose it. We'll give Mr. Savino, or I'll give Mr. Savino the okay
Yeah.
after
Okay.
consulting with, the New York Forward people and their suggestions, the urban planners. And yes, I mean, he's not gonna go out and shop without, us knowing, and
Okay.
Mr. Palumbo knowing, and where they're going, and how they're going, and all of that. So we will be in that decision process, but Mr. Savino will do the homework and the legwork to get us to a point where
Okay,
do we okay these signs?
all right. Thank you.
Okay.
So the signs that you see on what was submitted by Mr. Savino aren't necessarily going to be these signs, but
Right.
something in that
Right.
general
Yeah, I understand they
idea.
were yeah, I don't know if
Right.
they stole, no, you took those signs from the signs that you've already seen somewhere else.
Well, a combination of signs that I've seen and then adding to it to come up with something different. So that'll be used. Everything that we do has a bidding process. So I have to do an RFP to get the qualified sign makers to give me the best prices. So I'll use that as what they're going to use to bid on, knowing that it might not be exactly that.
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify, the $300,000 that we have from the previous year, that can only be used in those census tracts that qualified under that.
Right.
And the money that we're asking for now, which you predict could be in the 250 to 275 area, that would cover the other tracks that
Right.
have been added since 2025. So, for example, I know that, like, east of Roslyn Road, that wasn't covered originally, and now
Right.
and now it is.
Right.
And now it can be. Okay.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna get moving.
And you have two tracks that overlap from what was covered already. One is east of Roslyn Road,
Right.
all the way east.
Right.
That was there before. So that's an overlap. And one is Willis Avenue from Main Street, Willis Avenue east.
East.
Yes.
Yeah, we have the maps here. Okay. What do you need us to do?
One
now?
thing I
Yeah.
do need you to do is I need to renew what I do in the process is rather than procure every single commercial rehab that I do for signs, lights, and awnings, I go out and I get the quotes and then enter a 3-year contract, which the board will have full power of to get rid of anybody
Right.
at any time. But if they're good, we keep going with them.
Right.
So if you can give me the authority to request those proposals for a 3-year contract.
Has the previous 3-year contract expired?
Exhausted, yes.
Okay, so we have to do some kind of resolution?
I think that's what we did last time, and that makes sense.
Okay, do we need to do that today, Mr. Rivera, or is that something we could just put on for next week? I mean, I don't want to create a resolution on the fly. Is that something?
You could do it, yeah.
we
No, you could do it next week, yeah.
Okay,
I'll write it up, right.
okay. Anything else?
I'm good.
I'm good, okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the community development funding hearing.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Casado, second by deputy mayor Sartori. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else from us, Mrs. Vino?
I'm good.
No? All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, so, last month, on March 12th, we, had a hearing that was, continued to today, because it was pending a Nassau County Planning Commission, hearing that was happening, or meeting that was happening, I think the next day or a few days after that, so we couldn't vote. So, Mr. Gibbons, any news on that Nassau County Planning Commission?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Nassau County Planning Commission has come back to us and recommended local determination. So if the board is amenable, the public hearing can be closed at this time.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing from March 12th.
Motion?
Motion by trustee Solosky. Do I have a second? Second by trustee Clark. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The hearing for March 12th is hereby closed. Mr. Gibbons?
Yes,
anything
Mayor.
else? Yep.
I would offer the following resolution under CEQA. Resolve that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby adopts the attached CEQA negative declaration pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by trustee Clark, second by trustee Casado. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And
Any-
now, Mayor, the application is ready for a vote.
Okay. If there are no objections, I would like to vote on that. There is no other significant added information other than we were waiting for the Nassau County Planning Commission. As you just heard, the Nassau County Planning Commission made a local determination, so we can go ahead and vote. So I would entertain a motion to approve the application.
Motion.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Sartori. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by trustee Solosky. Mr. Rivera, please poll the board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes, congratulations, and we look forward to breaking ground as soon as possible. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Gibbons?
No, Mayor, thank you very much.
I'll entertain a motion to close the work session. What? Oh, good, so we don't have to? Oh, what, I said work session?
We're closing
I'm
public
sorry.
hearing.
I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Clark. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by trustee Solosky. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to go right into our work session. So you're done. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Happy, oh, no, we'll still have a meeting before Easter, but
Yeah.
happy holidays to you. I'll entertain a motion for approval of bills and payroll.
Motion?
Motion by trustee Casado. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Rivera.
Resolved to approve a request from Corpus Christi Church to use village streets for a devotional procession on Friday, April 18th, 2025, from approximately 7:30 PM to 8:30 PM, utilizing the route in the agenda.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion?
Motion by trustee Solosky, second by deputy mayor Sartori. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolved to approve the membership of the following candidates as recommended by the Mineola Fire Department: Diana Michelle Kelly, Company 1; Patrick Joseph Kelly, Company 2; Joseph Nunziata, Company 2; Jose Cabrera, Company 3.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Clark, seconded by trustee Casado. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Palumbo, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, request a resolution authorizing the emergency repair to the main sewer line located in Westbury Avenue. The contractor is Allgood Water and Sewer Contracting. The cost is $23,780, and the funding will be from the 2024-2025 general fund budget and/or the general fund reserve balance.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Casado. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Request a resolution authorizing the repair of the street lights located on Pembroke Drive, Crandall Drive, Green Tree Road, and Arlington Street. In the roughly 500 feet of roadway and utility strip that needs to be excavated and wires repaired underground. And it's from the 2024 street lighting contract. The vendor is Dennis O'Regan Electric. The cost is $46,898, and the funding will be from the 2024-2025 general fund budget and/or the general fund unreserved balance.
Okay, and as the deputy mayor mentioned earlier, there are things that we want and there are things that we need, and these are things that we don't want to do, but we need to do. Even the previous one, an emergency sewer repair on Westbury Avenue, because literally we have no choice. We have to do it. It's an emergency. We have to do it. And same thing for this electrical repair on the east end, the northeast quadrant of the village. These wires are buried in the ground. They keep shorting out, and more lights keep going out. So we replace the lights, they go out. So we literally have to dig up, excavate, and that is why it is such a high price tag. But again, it has to be done. There is no other way around it. So I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
Motion.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Sartori, seconded by Trustee Casado. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Request a resolution authorizing the lowest proposal received for the removal and replacement of 11 plastic and 1 galvanized water service lines from water main to curb stop on Colonial Avenue, Plymouth Avenue, and Astor Place. These locations are located in the 2024 road improvement contract, work order 2. Listed on the agenda are the quotes. The winner was Orchid Water and Sewer Contracting with the total cost of $63,010, and it's coming from the 2024-2025 general fund budget and/or general fund unreserved balance.
Okay, so this is obviously things that we uncovered when we were doing the road work in
Yeah,
that area.
it's also part of the LCR.
CR, right.
So they have to be changed eventually. So right now,
Right. Well,
we're opening up the roads, you might as well do them.
yeah, nice and cheap too.
Yeah.
Very nice. We only, have 5,000 more to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
And by the way, folks, if you do get a letter or do get a call about the water department having access to your house, please comply, call, make an appointment so that we can start to identify these locations on the service side, on the customer side, as well as on our side, on the municipal side, because as you can imagine, it's a big job, it's an expensive job, but it's something that we are mandated to do. It's not something that we're choosing to do. It's something that, again, we don't want to do it, but we need to do it. I'll entertain a motion to approve the request.
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Solosky. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Deputy Mayor Sartori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Request a resolution authorizing the proposal number 24-1029R2 received from the Land Tech Group for the rehabilitation to Wilson Park, using the piggyback clause of the following municipal contract. Town of Huntington General Requirements Contract, ES 2022-040-E. The cost is $1,090,403, and the funding will be from the 2025-2026 general fund budget and/or general fund unreserved balance.
Okay, and so this is for improvements that we are set to begin relatively shortly.
Yeah.
Lighting, pathways, sprinklers,
Playground.
bocce ball court,
Yeah,
additional
the
bocce ball
playground.
court, playground,
And I believe we're
surface
doing the-
improvements,
Yeah. And
all of those things. So it's a big job, and it probably, that park in that area has not been touched in decades.
decades.
Probably many, many decades. So, and we did get some money from the state.
Yes, we did.
Correct. Okay, excellent. Entertain a motion to approve? Okay, Trustee Casado, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Clark, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Looking forward to those improvements. Gonna look
Yes,
great.
and this is the second half of the resolution. Request a resolution authorizing the installation of pathway lights for the Wilson Park Rehabilitation Project under the 2024 street lighting contract. The vendor is Dennis O'Regan Electric. The cost is $116,842, and that will also be from the 2025-2026 general fund and/or the general fund unreserved balance.
Okay, this is the lighting part of the previous job. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Casado. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Salaski. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Request a resolution authorizing change order number 7 to the plumbing contract for well number 4, the 1,4-dioxane PFOA/PFAS treatment project for the removal and disposal of the existing clear well coating. The contractor is Benson Contracting, the cost of $74,700, and the funding source is from the contract allowance number 6, resulting in a no change in the overall contract amount.
Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Clark. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by deputy mayor Sartori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Request a resolution for fence repairs and installation as listed in the board agenda. The contractor is Island Fence. The cost is $20,970, and the funding will be from the 2024-2025 general fund budget and/or the general fund unreserved balance.
Okay, these are repairs to about 6 or 7 locations
Correct.
of just miscellaneous repairs to village properties or village fences that are in need of repair for various reasons, or adding new fence for a reason. And so all of that added up is about $21,000. Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by deputy mayor Sartori. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Salaski. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, which is an easy one, request a resolution authorizing Friday, April 25th, 2025, as Arbor Day in the village of Mineola to be commemorated with the planting of a tree. The location is to be determined.
Okay. It's wherever Mr. Casado decides
Would
to
like
dig
to
a hole. And I believe we just recognized with the 40th year, 30-something year, yeah, we just got a
I think it was
recognition. that
37 or
37 consecutive
Yeah.
years of being recognized as an Arbor Day village. And I know that that may not mean a lot to a lot of people, because according to some people, we cut down too many trees. According to some people, we don't cut enough trees down. But we will say that just about every tree that comes down is replaced, perhaps not in the exact same spot, and perhaps not as fast as some people would like it, or perhaps too fast for some people's liking. But as we cut down, 150 trees, we replace 150 trees each and every year. So, and as a result of that, we get this Arbor Day designation. And we get Mr. Casado to go out and use his green thumb. I'll entertain a motion to recognize April 25th as Arbor Day here in the village of Mineola.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Casado, seconded by deputy mayor Sartori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palumbo. Mr. Gibbons, anything?
No, Mayor,
No? Thank you. Mr. Rivera, anything else? Anybody else on the board?
Pancake.
Yep. So this Sunday, April 13th, is the Long Island Portuguese Lions Club annual Palm Sunday breakfast. This year, because of the ongoing construction at the Mineola Portuguese Center on Jericho, they are hosting it at the Portuguese Heritage Society, which is on Willis Avenue, I believe 133 Willis Avenue, right by the Little League fields. And speaking of the Little League fields, they look great. We just had the Little League parade last week. It was a little cold, but baseball's on. Go down, get a hot dog from the hot dog stand, support our youngsters out there on the baseball field, the softball field, and soon enough, it's going to get warm. So with that, I would just like to thank everyone and remind everyone that next week, the 16th of April, we do have hearings on, so it is a hearing night as well as organization night next week. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to close the work session.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Clark. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Casado. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.